Earth, the planet we call our home. From deserts to snowy mountains, as surely as the seasons change, through the passage of time, every inch of our world is, as it has always been, teeming with life, with creatures large and small. Join us in celebrating the mighty wilderness in Wild About. Somewhere in sub-Saharan Africa, the early morning sun rises over the savanna. It is just before the yearly migration, and something other than rain-ripened grass await the oncoming hordes of wildebeest and zebras. A predator. A man-eater. A beast of legend. An undisputed king. In the African country of Tanzania, the region of the Great Serengeti is one of the world's largest and most diverse ecosystems. It's home to hundreds of species of exotic animals of all walks of life. Spread out over an area the size of Belgium, it spans all manners of terrain. From forests and swamps, hills and mountains, wide open grasslands, and the great savanna. Considered one of the 7 wonders of Africa, it also holds the world's largest population of the great African lion, Panthera leo. Closely related to the tiger, jaguar, and the leopard. The lion is typically categorized into 8 subspecies. Spanning all of Africa, south of the Sahara, and India, the lion is the 2nd largest living cat. They have dominated their habitats for thousands of years as the apex predator. Stemming from a common ancestor of all cats 10 million years ago, the lion first evolved 700,000 years ago. Emerging from southern Africa before migrating north, dividing into subspecies we know today. Since its inception, the lion has evolved to be perfectly suited for its environment. Tan fur as camouflage against the browns and yellow hues of the sandy rocks and tall grass. Muscular, lean build for quick dashes and ferocious attacks. A perfect predator. Born to rule. One of the most mythic and instantly recognizable animals on Earth. The lion has always been seen as a symbol for royalty, power, respect for the wilderness. A symbol for Africa. A symbol for the wild and untamed. A symbol for the jungle itself. Though often called the king of the jungle, the lion still rarely ventures out into the dense tropical forests. Known to be almost twice the size of a grown man, the male African lion can weigh as much as 1/4 of a ton, and is outmatched only by the tiger among the gray cats. Unlike other cats, lions live and hunt in packs, or prides, centered around a group of closely related female lionesses, with only 1 or 2 resident males. The pride area is often a marked territory focused around a nest or resting ground inhabited by the females. With its fringes guarded vigilantly by the male. Hunting and acquiring food in the pride is typically handled by the females, lighter, faster, and more agile, while the male watches over the cubs. Any prey brought down small enough will be carried back to the pride area. Anything bigger than that is eaten on the spot. Often the prey is consumed over several hours under the cover of darkness. Sprinters more than long-distance runners, the lioness hunt in groups, slowly stalking their prey from multiple vantage points. Head held low. Shoulders hunched. Still. Before they strike. And before the prey knows what's hit them, a single bite to the neck or face, the prey dies from asphyxiation. Though common thought to be primarily ferocious hunters, targeting wildebeest, zebras, and warthogs, over half of the food acquired is through expert scavenging. Few other animals would be foolish enough to contest the lioness's claim to newly fallen prey. Primarily nocturnal, the lion sleeps during most of the day, only to emerge shortly before sunset, ready in search of food. The lion is also the only species of cat where males and females are distinctly different in appearance, with the mature male's distinctive mane readily apparent. The color, texture, and length of the mane can be indicative of a lion's health, as well as the breed. The longer and darker it is, the healthier the animal. The mane is commonly used for intimidation, making it appear larger than it is in a confrontation. This plays a role in defending the pride from solitary nomadic males seeking to join the pride, avoiding direct conflict. If challenged, a resident male may defend his place in the pride to the death, as he is also the father of all existing cubs. If a new male takes the resident male's place, they will often kill the existing cubs to later replace with those of their own line. The lion's mating ritual occurs several times a year. Once the lionesses are in heat, lasting several days with regular intervals. Because the mating act is painful for the female, the male must retain control by force. The male approaches the female from behind, biting her neck to keep her in place. During this period, a lioness may mate with a resident male up to 40 times a day, both parties often foregoing eating. Following consummation, the female writhes and rolls around to increase the chance of conception. Whereas the male steers clear, avoiding postcoital aggression from the female. Exactly 110 days later, a litter of 1 to 4 cubs is born in the lioness's den. Initially cared for by their mother alone, the cubs are defenseless and highly vulnerable. The cubs are kept in seclusion from the rest of the pride until they are a month or 2 of age. Born blind and unable to move, the cubs quickly gain the ability not only to crawl but to run, much to the dismay of their mother, who constantly has to relocate their den to avoid marking the area with the scent of the cubs. Lion cubs are often co-parented by other lionesses, as their reproductive cycles often synchronize to allow shared breastfeeding and protection of their young. At 2 to 3 years of age, the lions are already considered sexually mature. With many young lions already attempting to mate within their pride. The females are then integrated into the pride. Whereas the males are commonly pushed out by their father to find a new pride. Almost every male lion goes through this phase and are known as nomads, wandering the wilderness, trying to find a pride with a male weak enough to challenge. Life in the Serengeti is very perilous. As many as 80% of all cubs die before reaching adulthood from either starvation or predation. Jackals, hyenas, leopards, martial eagles, and snakes are among a young lion cub's many foes. The mortality rate of even adult lions is also notably high due to territorial conflicts with other prides as well as human intervention and hunting. Once spread out across Europe, North Africa, and Asia Minor, the lion today has been reduced to a small population south of the Sahara of 16,000 individuals, and an endangered population of only 400 specimens in India. Today, with less and less of the African wilderness capable of sustaining the surrounding wildlife, combined with the intense rivalry from the prosperous hyenas, illnesses stemming from a limited population plagued by inbreeding, and extensive poaching. Lions are now considered a vulnerable species, with several subspecies considered endangered and on the verge of extinction. Starting already in ancient Egypt, lions were hunted for sport and kept in cages and enslaved as exotic status symbols. With the Romans going so far as to engage lions in gladiator games, commonly sacrificing Christian martyrs to be eaten alive by lions in the arena. Their natural habitat has been drastically reduced following the colonization and increased urbanization of Africa starting in the 19th century. Widespread stories of their ferociousness as man-eaters, lions were extensively hunted and killed to protect the emerging slave and ivory trade. With a notable instance along the Tsavo River in Kenya in 1898. Where two rare and unusually large and maneless male lions attacked and killed 36 railroad workers. They were nicknamed the Ghost and the Darkness by the workers who feared them with great superstition, and the story seeped into African legend. A story that contributed greatly to the Western fears of the savage lion from the Dark Continent. A large portion of the lion population worldwide are now confined to zoos and wildlife parks. Many growing obese and increasingly domesticated. no longer able to survive in the wild, and frequently made part of public entertainment such as lion taming and circus shows.
I'm not afraid of nothing. What do you do? I'm a pretty brave kid. I don't care about kittens. I don't care how big the kittens are. Hey, Buzz, get those nails filed. They hurt. Serves you right. See that big guy's face?
And though it is uncommon for lions to hunt humans, as a result of prey depletion and human settlements expanding into bush country, some lions have turned to people as a source of food. Estimates range up to 70 people per year in Tanzania alone are killed and eaten by wild lions, with hundreds of local villagers and tourists attacked and killed across the continent. Because of this, lion hunting is again on the rise with the rapidly expanding online black market for teeth, hides, and other trophies. The king of the jungle is on the brink of being a thing of the past. But for now, it remains one of the last wild predators on Earth. The ocean. Infinitely vast and mysterious. Underneath the mighty waves, another world, seldom seen by human eyes, awaits. A world of beauty. A world of excitement. But also a world of dangers lurking around every corner. For beneath the tranquil waves, a predator is on the prowl. A creature that knows no fear, no remorse, no end in sight, except kill or be killed. One of the most diverse and unique family of animals. Sharks evolved hundreds of millions of years ago to be the ultimate predator of the ocean deep, with over 470 species of sharks described, over 13 orders. They exist in every ocean, in every corner of the planet, with a few even existing in freshwater lakes and rivers. It is also one of the most prolific predators on Earth. They range from the deep-sea lantern shark, the size of a human hand, to the great whale shark, the largest now living species of fish on Earth. though commonly thought to be solitary predators, ranging the ocean in search of food. This is only true for a handful of species. Many more retain a more sedentary lifestyle, lying in wait of nearby prey, or patrolling a smaller area. And many shark breeds, such as the hammerhead, are indeed highly social, forming schools of hundreds of individuals, sometimes forming cross-species groups. They've existed long before there were animals on land, and before plant life had taken hold. Sharks evolved over 400 million years ago. Though they looked very similar to the sharks of today, the first species were considerably different internally. With most species existing not only in the shallow primordial oceans, but also in the freshwater lakes, trawling along the soft muddy seabeds. The modern shark emerged around the time of the dinosaurs, flourishing after their extinction, with species such as the megalodon, which could grow to be as large as 66 feet, compared to the great white of today, averaging at a mere 20 feet, feeding on whales and giant sea creatures. Closely related to the rays, skates, and chimeras. Sharks belong to a wider group of ancient fish. With a skeleton made out of cartilage rather than bone, making them significantly lighter than other fish of the same size, but also more flexible and weaker in skeletal structure, leading to many sharks that become stranded on dry land to be crushed under their own weight. Most sharks have 8 fins, all made up of an elastic protein, similar to the keratin found in human fingernails. The fins include a pair of pectoral fins, 2 pelvic fins, 2 dorsal fins, an anal fin, and a caudal fin, the main propulsion for every shark. The shape of the caudal fin signifies the lifestyle and habitats of the shark. Vertically symmetrical, crescent-shaped tails signify fast-swimming sharks, such as the mackerel shark, and enhances their swimming speed, power, and efficiency, but it doesn't allow for much precision in quick twists and turns. Top-heavy caudal fins, where the top half is upward-facing and significantly larger than the bottom half, make up the most common type for sharks, and provides greater flexibility and agility for the shark. With combined cruising efficiency and sharp turning ability, thresher sharks and requiem sharks are included in this group, with the thresher even using the top lobe as a stinger to stun its prey. Shark breeds sticking closer to the muddy bottom, such as the cat shark, have this type of fin, but even more so, sacrificing speed. Dogfish sharks have similar tails, but where the backbone runs lower than the lobe itself, reducing downward thrust and thus their average speed, but in return allows for quick bursts and great agility. Angel sharks are highly unusual in that regard. Their lower lobe is significantly larger than their upper one, as they are more closely related to rays, and spend their time hidden against the ocean floor, awaiting nearby prey to come within range of attack. Also, unlike other fish, sharks have a tightly woven mesh of teeth-like scales for their skin, known as dermal denticles. The tiny sharp scales are made of flexible collagen fibers, functioning as a thin outer skeleton with muscle attachment points, allowing for superhuman muscle strength and endurance, while conserving the shark's energy. Energy used by the shark's breathing system in order to pass the amounts of richly oxygenated seawater required through the gills. Sharks have developed two physical means of breathing. Either they swim through the water at significant speeds, with their mouths held open in order to take in water, or they pump it in by flexing and undulating their buccal muscles, drawing water in with each breath. As buccal breathing is heavily energy intensive, many sharks have entirely abandoned that as a means for breathing. Instead, they are required constantly to be moving, swimming, hunting, without rest or reprieve. The shark's jaw is also not attached to the skull, instead being upheld by massively powerful muscles, and a mosaic pattern of crystallized salt plates known as tesserae, sometimes arranged in several layers for extra durability, giving it the same strength at its weakest spot as the hardest bone. Whereas the snout is often made out of spongy, soft cartilage, able to not just withstand, but absorb direct impact as it charges its prey. Also, unlike bony fish, sharks don't have gas-filled swim bladders for buoyancy, but rather a large liver filled with oils lighter than water. Thanks to their large and well-developed pectoral fins, sharks can also maintain depth by dynamic lift, angling their fins to create lift while moving forward, gliding through the water, much like the wings of an airplane. The average shark cruise speed is fairly low, only slightly faster than the average human walking speed, but can increase to speeds up to that of city traffic, with the fastest being the short-fin mako shark at 30 miles per hour. Sharks are never truly asleep, with some breeds required to continue swimming in a semi-dormant state. And all sharks sleep with their eyes open, following every visible movement by instinct. Widely known for their sense of smell, sharks can detect even the tiniest drop of blood in the water, and can determine the exact direction and distance by smell alone. Many sharks also focus in on the distinctive smell of the chemical processes found in the digestive systems of their prey, leading many sharks to be confused and hover around sewage outlets. Their sense of sight is also highly evolved, with an eye structure highly similar to the human eye. They have similar lenses, corneas, and retinas, even dilating pupils. But the shark's eye is also uniquely adapted to marine life, with exceptional low-light eyesight and uninterrupted stereoscopic vision, as they never blink, with the surrounding waters effectively cleaning their eyes for them, though they are effectively colorblind, with many sharks only being able to see shades of green and gray. The shark's sense of hearing is also acutely developed, enabling the shark to hear prey from miles away, via a small opening on each side of the head, connected to a series of openings all along the skull, making the shark highly sensitive to direct vibrations and electrical fields generated by all living organisms. As every animal generates some small measure of electrical activity through muscle activity, the shark can sense the mere presence of even a buried prey in pitch-black conditions. The shark has the most sensitive form of electrolocation known in the animal kingdom, responding to fields as low in charge as 5 nanovolts per centimeter and changes in the surrounding water temperature. It is believed that sharks even use the electromagnetic fields of the Earth itself to navigate the seas. Lifespans vary by species, as does its prey. Most sharks live 20 to 30 years, but with the whale sharks and certain dogfish far outlasting human lives. Most sharks are carnivorous and feed off smaller fish and other marine animals, such as schools of mackerel, halibut, clownfish, pipefish, eel, squid, goby, or crustaceans, as some have developed unique flat teeth to crack their shells. Some sharks even commonly attack and feed on other sharks, as well as larger sea mammals like dolphins and seals. More sedentary shark breeds suck their prey into their mouths once they're near, while others actively hunt in packs to take down a common prey, traveling hundreds of miles to do it. While most fish reproduce by laying a vast multitude of eggs that hatch into many undeveloped young, sharks carry only a few eggs, turning into highly developed young. Young sharks that age relatively slowly, with some species taking decades to reach sexual maturity. Intercourse among sharks is also internal, unlike most fish, where the rear of the male's pelvic fin may be used to deliver semen into the female. Mating is rarely observed, but is usually preceded by a period of courtship, wherein the male swims alongside the female, biting her to show interest and eventually to secure a position for intercourse. Some cases have been reported of asexual reproduction among sharks, where a female has conceived without any prior contact with a male. It is unknown how often it occurs, if at all, in the wild. The eggs are commonly carried by the female for an extended pregnancy, while hatching inside her oviduct, where the yolk and secreted fluids nourish the young sharks before being born. The whole process may take as long as 2 years, from conception to birth, for some sharks. Many shark species take the opportunity to consume the other unhatched eggs while still in the oviduct, or consuming their neighboring embryos. A few shark species, such as hammerheads, bull sharks, and blue sharks, maintain a placental link to the embryo rather than an egg, leading to live births highly similar to mammalian pregnancy and delivery. Only a select few sharks lay their eggs outside of their body, often hiding them in crevices and dark corners where they are hard to access by predators. After birth or hatching, the young are typically left to fend for themselves. Sharply intelligent, sharks have shown inquisitive behavior and can even be playful among themselves. Originally referred to by sailors as sea dogs, the word shark itself comes from the German Schurke, meaning villain or evildoer, reflecting their intensely negative associations and common human sensibilities towards the animal. Though often depicted as man-eaters and monsters of the deep, sharks are ultimately responsible for the deaths of only a dozen people over a 10-year period. Out of the nearly 500 species, only 4 have ever been confirmed to have attacked humans: the bull shark, the white tip shark, the tiger shark, and the great white, all of which constituting the biggest carnivorous sharks, who are prone to get aggressive when provoked or tempted by starvation to attack. In occasional instances, they can confuse the contours of surfers with sea turtles or seals, becoming attracted to the swimmer by the vibrations and splashes in the water, as well as shiny objects the swimmer is wearing, such as watches and jewelry. The perception of sharks as dangerous man-eaters has, however, been perpetuated through mainstream media, with the few attacks that occur often significantly publicized, such as the Jersey Shore attacks of 1916, where an unknown shark killed 4, injuring 1 along the shores of New Jersey during a 2-week period. Because of this and their unique physical properties, shark fishing has been immensely popular, with 100 million sharks killed by humans every year, often for the sake of shark finning, where the shark is pulled up on deck, their fins cut off while they're still alive, and then dumped back into the ocean, unable to swim. They frequently die slowly from predation or suffocation, as they are unable to swim to pass water through their gills. The fins are then used in the highly valued delicacy known as shark fin soup, considered a status symbol in Asian countries, often ascribed near mythical qualities of being alternatively a potent aphrodisiac or significantly extending one's life. This despite the high levels of mercury found in shark meat, which can be potentially poisonous. As a result, shark breeds have become increasingly endangered, with more and more species put on red lists every year for being commonly fished and sold from unsustainable populations. Sharks have also long been notoriously difficult to maintain in captivity. In particular, the great white, which has never survived longer than 7 months in captivity. Only in fully equipped ocean parks can any other shark species survive for long, with many dubious dealers selling sharks to home aquariums, leading to unwitting owners accidentally killing them. The shark, the mightiest predator of the sea, is quickly becoming hunted into extinction. Based on superstition and misconception. Only intensive preservation efforts and increased public awareness may save them. But even then, some say it may be too late. until that day. Sharks will continue to stalk waters everywhere as one of the last remaining wild predators on Earth. Tall grass, windswept desert, tropical jungle, rolling hills, stormy seas, anywhere warm, anywhere safe, anywhere you won't think to look. Something is hiding, hunting. Equally feared and hated as it is worshipped and adored. There exists nothing like it. A predator. A cold-blooded hunter. An icon. One of the most prolific carnivores on the planet. Snakes exist on every continent except Antarctica. On every major landmass. Across the Pacific and Indian Ocean. And in enormous numbers. With more than 20 families. And 3,400 species. Snakes come in sizes as small as the thread snake at a decimeter long, to the reticulated python at 5 times the length of a grown man. Their prey range from insects and rodents, to buffalo and alligators, even other snakes. They evolved from lizards during the mid-Cretaceous period, more than 100 million years ago. Looming after the death of the dinosaurs as the dominant reptile species. Strictly carnivorous. Snakes can be venomous or constricting or just eat their prey alive. With venomous snakes relying on a single sustained bite to deliver their venom, after which they wait until their prey has succumbed before feeding. While constricting snakes such as pythons and boas use their powerful muscles to crush the victim by winding themselves around it, cutting off blood flow and oxygen, taking down prey as big as sheep and buffalo. While most snakes focus on smaller prey, such as rats and mice, swallowing them whole while they're still alive. Snakes have no visible arms or legs, instead having between 200 to 400 vertebrae, each with prominent projections for powerful muscle attachment points, allowing them locomotion without limbs. Snakes make their way slithering along the ground, up along the treetops. Most move by lateral undulation, moving their bodies alternately left and right, resulting in distinctive wave-like movements. Though the movements appear rapid, this form of locomotion is fairly slow. Other snakes move by sidewinding, such as vipers, where the body moves in segments, lifting and pushing, resulting in a rolling motion at a much lower energy cost for the snake when push points are absent due to lack of irregularities in the surface, such such as sand dunes and mud. And there's not enough space for sidewinding. Snakes use concertina locomotion, where the snake braces its tail portion while extending its head and neck forward. At great cost of effort and very slow forward movement. Pythons and boas can also use rectilinear motion, slowly lifting and shifting its individual scales without significantly moving its ribs, resulting in ripple motions across the skin. This type of locomotion is notably subtle and used primarily for slowly stalking prey. Tree snakes use combinations of all types of movement, with some snakes of Southeast Asia having an additional form of locomotion, spreading their ribs out, launching themselves from branch tips, gliding through the air for hundreds of feet, even being able to turn midair. To accommodate their slimmed-down form, the internal organs of a snake are ordered front to back, as opposed to side to side. With most snakes only having one functional lung. The strongest of their senses is their sense of smell. Using a forked tongue, the snake collects airborne particles, bringing them into the mouth for examination. In what is called Jacobson's organ, permitting them to simultaneously taste and smell their surroundings, even giving them a sense of specific direction of the scent. Because of this, snakes keep their tongues in constant motion, constantly sampling everything around them to determine the presence of nearby predators or prey. The eyesight of snakes vary considerably, with some breeds having sharp binocular vision, and others barely able to distinguish light from dark. The common ground being their acute response to movements, sudden and slow. Snakes are also highly sensitive to air and ground vibrations, easily sensing any nearby animals. Some snakes, like pythons, pit vipers, and some boas, even have infrared sensitive receptors, enabling them to sense the heat signatures given off by warm-blooded animals in deep grooves on or around their snout. Thanks to their uniquely flexible two-part divided lower jaw, a snake can expand its mouth to swallow large prey whole. Contrary to popular belief, the snake's jaw doesn't dislocate, as much as the whole skull will bend and divide at numerous points, allowing the snake to swallow prey far larger than its own head, even large mammals. Occasionally, even humans. Contrary to common perception, the skin texture of a snake is commonly dry and smooth as opposed to slimy. With the entire length of the snake's body covered in scales of varying sizes and textures. Even with eyes covered by transparent scales to protect it, unlike movable eyelids in other animals. The appearance and quantity of scales is often used to distinguish different species, with the distinctive patterns of scales often directly corresponding to a snake's internal anatomy. All snakes shed their skin at different stages of life. The process is called molting, and involves complete shedding of the entire outer layer of skin, revealing a new, fresh layer of scales underneath, akin to turning a sock inside out. This helps cleaning the snake of parasites. Prior to molting, the snake seeks out a secluded spot, the outer skin turns dry and dull, with the eyes turning cloudy. As the inner surface of the old skin liquefies, separating from the newer skin underneath. At first, the skin cracks at the mouth and head, allowing the snake to wiggle out of the opening slowly. The old skin rolling off inside out. This process occurs between 1 to 4 times a year. Cold-blooded. Snakes are dependent on the surrounding air or water temperature to remain physically active. Once the temperature drops at night, the snake turns dormant. With snakes in colder climate entering a state of hibernation over the winter months. As a result, temperature greatly affects digestion. Following feeding, snakes also become dormant while the process of digestion takes place, especially after consuming a large prey. With many species only feeding sporadically, leading the entire length of the snake's intestine to enter a reduced state to conserve energy. In nearly all snake breeds, the male snake is in constant search of a mate. Once a female is found, mating can occur within any time of the year or the snake's life cycle. All snakes use some form of internal fertilization for procreation. This is achieved by a pair of forked hemipenes, normally inverted within the male's body. They are everted during copulation by use of erectile tissue. Mating is often brief and repeated. Alternating the hemipenis used. And with some snakes, preceded by ritual combat among the males. To determine which snake is granted rights to mate with an available female. Some breeds of snake appear polygynous, where a male mates with multiple females, whereas other species are strictly polyandrous, with the female courted by and mating with several males at once. Most snakes lay eggs, often abandoning them from that point on, covered in soft shells. The young can easily push themselves out of the eggs. Some snakes, like pythons and the king cobra, guard the eggs until hatching. Even attempt to warm the eggs by vibration to aid in incubation. Some snakes, however, keep the eggs inside their bodies until shortly before hatching. With others, such as the boa constrictor, giving live birth. After birth or hatching, young snakes are left to their own devices. Many falling prey to predators such as birds, cats, and other snakes. Though ordinarily not a threat to humans, venomous snakes can attack when threatened, often happening to farmers, hunters, and fishermen, who either step on a snake or approach too closely. With many snake breeds giving fair warning to any who dare threaten it, such as the rattlesnake's distinctive sound, the cobra's long cervical ribs that expand to form a hood, making it appear much larger than it is, or other snakes that commonly hiss at anyone approaching. When they strike, long hollow fangs or otherwise specialized teeth inject their victim with venomous saliva, making up a quarter of all known snakes. The venom of venomous snakes can vary wildly in effect, as they do not form a single group within the snake family, some being neurotoxins affecting the brain and nervous system, being either paralytic, as with the mambas or the king cobra, or cause tetany, which can lead to death, as with some rattlesnakes. Others are cytotoxins, affecting blood and cardiovascular systems and cellular structure, with the venom of the Japanese habu breaking down cell membranes, or as with most vipers, coagulating the victim's blood, or as with the venom of some cobras, effectively paralyzing the victim's heart muscles. With often the best and sometimes only treatment being specifically developed antivenoms. The bite of non-venomous snakes is usually harmless by contrast, with their teeth designed for grabbing and holding, as opposed to tearing and puncturing their prey, posing no threat to larger animals or humans. While larger constricting snakes, such as the African rock python and the reticulated python, have killed and reportedly eaten human prey on more than one occasion. Though this is exceptionally rare due to the snake preferring other, often larger animals for their prey, with the green anaconda notably never having been reported to kill a human, despite widespread fear of the animal. The words snake and serpent both come from the Proto-Indo-European term for to creep or crawl. In Judeo-Christian mythology, snakes have long been depicted as evil or duplicitous, with their slow, slithering movements and forked tongue appearing as emblematic of malice and deception. Described in the story of Genesis as the one evil in the Garden of Eden, tempting Adam and Eve with the forbidden fruit. Later on being a symbol for Satan himself. As a result, the word snake itself is now commonly used as an insult. While in Hindu culture, the snake is worshipped, belonging to a class of serpent deities known as Nagas, celebrated yearly in festivals across the country. In ancient Egypt, the king cobra was also worshipped as a deity, such as Wajet, protector and patron of the country and its pharaohs, or Renenutet, goddess of nourishment and harvest. as well as in Mesoamerican culture, where the snake was considered as important of a deity as the jaguar, being hailed as a portal between two worlds. Often linked to myths of a great flood as the originator. Similarly, Norse culture commonly depicted a cosmic snake, the world serpent, enveloping the world. And Ouroboros, swallowing his own tail to keep the world from ending, becoming a symbol for immortality and alchemy in the process. While in Greek mythology, the snake took on dual roles, with many stories featuring snakes as associated with deadly foes such as Medusa, as well as being a symbol for medicine, thanks to their periodic molting signifying renewal and healing, a symbol that survives today. Today, snakes are often kept as pets, particularly smaller constricting snakes, as they require minimal space and maintenance, with only infrequent feedings once every 1 to 2 weeks, and long lifespan, sometimes over 40 years given proper care, though often more dubious dealers have been known to sell endangered species, or snakes that grow too large to maintain, leading to many large constricting snakes being needlessly killed or set free in foreign environments. Many of the larger constricting snakes are today endangered due to severe deforestation and encroaching human settlements. Some cultures also frequently cook and consume snakes as a delicacy, with snake blood consumed in some Asian countries as an aphrodisiac. Bodies of snakes commonly steeped in alcohol to produce snake wine, a popular beverage in China considered to have curative properties, with only a handful of snakes potentially dangerous to humans, and most targeting rodents and pests. It seems their negative reputation today is unearned, attributed more to their strange, limbless appearance, common misconceptions and superstition, rather than their nature. As one of the most successful and prolific predators across the globe.